I'm Julie Holland.
And I'm Nick Spacek.
We're the hosts of The Carnage Report, a horror news podcast, part of the Cinepunks podcast network.
Every other Thursday, we bring you the latest news you can use on horror movies, casting, production, re-releases, trailers, and more.
We also do a deep dive into a movie new to streaming or theaters, giving you our thoughts and opinions on whether you should check it out.
Toss in recommendations for similar movies and a whole lot of commentary, and it's all the horror news you can use.
The Carnage Report is on Twitter and Instagram at Report Carnage.
Find us at cinepunks.com, that's CINEPUNX, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, folks. My name is Owen Brand.
And I'm Katie Cadaver.
And we are co-hosts of the VHS Vault podcast, where old is new and cringe is king. We are a podcast dedicated to bringing you old and obscure movies from deep in the vault.
That's right. You can listen to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, and on Planet Rage Radio Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central on the Live 365 app. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
And email us at vhsvaultpodcast@gmail.com.
The Shameless Picture Show is part of the Cinepunks Network. If you like the Shameless Picture Show and you want to hear other great shows like it, make sure you check out the Cinepunks Network. You can find them at www.cinepunks.com. That's CINEPUNX. There's other great shows such as Cinepunks. There's The Carnage Report, Cinema Smorgasbord, Fat Girl Hacks, Loud, Fast, Philly, Tomb of Ideas, and Twitch of the Death Nerve, and so much more. If you like punk rock and you like movies, make sure to go to www.cinepunks.com. And let's not forget the sponsors for the Cinepunks Network. We have the Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. They are the premier screen printer of the Lehigh Valley with service to the whole country, professional and personable in a way that only a DIY business can be. They also have ridiculously low prices for whatever your screen printing needs may be. You can visit them online at xlvacx.com. That's xlvacx.com. Lehigh Valley Apparel Creations. We also have the Essex Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted to order. They have high quality beans, bunch of apparel, and tea available. They are bringing high quality coffee to the masses without the pretentiousness. Use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. You can visit them at www.essexcoffeeroasters.com. That's ESSEX, coffeeroasters.com. Once again, use the code CINEPUNKS for 10% off your first order. Big shout out to the band Crossed Keys for lending us that awesome fucking music during our little ad. That song is called Who We Never Were. You can buy that single currently off of Bandcamp. The band is called Crossed Keys. It will be on their full-length album, Believes in You. That song was lent to me by Crossed Keys, specifically, I don't know if he goes by Joey Angel or goes by Joshua Alvarez, but I met him as Joshua Alvarez. He's the co-host of Cinepunks, our fucking network, and I told him, I love this song, I want to use it, so that way people don't have to just listen to me talk, and he said, fuck yeah. So please, if you like the song is called Who We Never Were. You can get that on Bandcamp currently. It's off of their album Believes in You. You can get the 10 song LP is out May 5th, Friday, May 5th. You can actually order it on vinyl right now. So go show them some love. Hey, do you like weird movies? You do? Have you heard of Vinegar Syndrome? Find them online at www.vinegarsyndrome.com. Vinegar Syndrome is one of the leading exploitation and grindhouse preservation and distribution companies in the world. They've got a simple 3-step process that I call the 3 R's: recover, restore, and release. Vinegar Syndrome has an amazingly large film archive consisting of thousands of 35 and 16mm negatives and prints, and are actively finding films that are underappreciated, undervalued, and underseen. So many of their releases have never seen the light of day since VHS, and they're restoring them to all their glory. Some of these films do not have the right to look as good as they do, but they do. I'm looking at you, corpse grinders.
I can
Vinegar Syndrome has their own method of restoration where their goal is to recreate the theatrical experience as best as they can. With their own in-house lab, they scan, color grade, and restore each title personally. You'll never see any grain reduction and digital trickery on their discs. Vinegar Syndrome is a very exciting label, and we're proud to have them as a sponsor. They've been with us since the beginning, and we love them for it. Check out their website today and pick up your copies of Rudy Ray Moore's Dolomite films, just in time for the new Netflix movie Dolomite Is My Name, starring Eddie Murphy. Also available is Hell Comes to Frogtown, starring Rowdy Piper, James Hong's The Vineyard, Pledge Night, Lust in the Dust, starring Divine, Putney Swope, the Amityville Cursed Collection, and much, much more. Also, don't forget to pre-order your copy of Tammy and the T-Rex in glorious 4K Ultra High Definition or Blu-ray, and the Angel Collection. Once again, be sure to visit them at www.vinegarsyndrome.com and grab yourself something cool. Let them know your good friend Michael sent you.
I'm gonna rock this shotgun up his motherfucking ass.
Warning! This movie podcast actually discusses movies. Be aware that it may discuss any of the following elements: endings, surprise twists, unexpected cameos, and all manner of spoilers. If this doesn't appeal to you, why listen to a movie podcast? Without further ado, please enjoy our feature presentation, The Shameless Picture Show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Shameless Picture Show. I am Michael Viers, and joining me today is a very very special guest, Eric Arsnow. He is a huge, I'm going to just read your bio verbatim that you gave me, a huge champion of the Milwaukee film and music scene. Eric has passionately thrived in both camps over the last 15 years in his favorite city in the United States. Eric currently operates the post-production house Funland Studios in the heart of Milwaukee and has won several awards for his animated music video Ride of the Devil's Teeth, and as the editor for the feature film Deep Woods, as well as several advertising awards for his commercial work. On top of that, I'm just going to freeball it now, I became aware of you because of your just passionate love for not only cinema, but specifically weird cinema, which is, I think, kind of how we met. I technically met you at a garage sale.
Yeah,
you were
totally
selling weird movies, and that's what caught my eye.
Yeah, no, and through mutual friends of ours, too, who just love, genre films, cult stuff, all that sort of thing, so...
It's honestly surprising that we hadn't met before, considering we have similar interests and how many people we know.
Yeah, no, totally. And the fact that you've been a big champion for all that stuff too, and have a huge online presence for that. So yeah.
Like it's funny. So for all the listeners know, I met Eric. I feel like I was aware of you for a long time because I'd seen your band play. And I just heard your name being mentioned because I'm good friends with Kyle Arpke. Right. But I was at my friend Josh's house, who I think is related to you.
Yeah, my brother married his sister, so yeah, he's a good friend now too.
And I was at his house one time. He's like, "Oh, my friend Eric is having a yard sale. He's going to sell a bunch of weird movies," and Josh has got similar taste to me. So when he says there's weird movies for sale, I know it's worth checking out. And like I said, it happened to be you. And I remember I got there and you had out of print Criterion still sealed.
Yeah. No, I have been a big collector for quite some time. And some of it's just gotten, kind of crazy and out of hand. So
I feel like I haven't quite gotten to that spot yet.
Yeah.
But we have dedicated a room to it. And we are going to be building wall-to-wall shelves on every wall, just so I can expand as much as I want to.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But then the hope is that with more space, I can start getting a little more creative, breaking things up by genre or director or what have you, instead of just feeling like I have to do alphabetical.
Yeah. And for me, I've even gotten to a point where I specifically just pick up mostly boutique label stuff at this point, like Vinegar Syndrome, stuff like that. It's nice supporting the smaller companies like that because they're just doing really cool work.
Yeah, exactly, and Actually, as a collector, I want, before we talk about the movie at hand and just talk about whatever, I wanted to get your opinion about this, because you are a collector as well, and you have been for quite a long time. Like, I imagine you've been collecting physical media for probably a good portion of your life, if I had to.
Oh, for sure.
Guess.
Yeah, like, so in high school, my friend Siobhan had movie nights, and kind of the thing that spun me off into looking into weirder cinema was the horror genre. She had like a double feature of Evil Dead and Dead Alive, and that was just something I hadn't seen before. So it totally just spiraled from there, like into like things like David Lynch and John Waters, and the whole gamut. So
yeah. What do you think about because I feel like not a month goes by where I don't see some clickbait piece about how physical media is dying. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's like to each their own. I've definitely run into situations recently. It's kind of been silly, but been trying to introduce my two kids to the things now that they're getting older, and even just finding how frustrating it is that not everything is available on to stream, or it was at one point but got pulled down. So for me, like, the physical media thing is still super helpful. As a collector, it's just a lot of fun too, because of the boutique labels. They definitely dress things up and make it more appealing as an art piece a lot of the time too, which is just, it's fun for me. I enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah, same here. And I've been talking with friends of mine who do physical media reviews. I have a friend named Stephen Bjork who writes for the Digital Bits, and they do very in-depth reviews if anyone out there is interested. And I was talking to him about that recently, where I'm in plenty of different movie groups or home theater groups or what have you, and it's always like this doom and gloom that physical media is dying. But I just feel like we're living in a new golden age and we don't even realize it because of all the amount of stuff that we get and the quality of stuff that we're getting.
Yeah.
During the days of VHS and maybe early DVD, a lot of weirdness was put out, but a lot of it wasn't put out very well.
Exactly. No, that's a very good point. I mean, so much of it is cleaned up and taken care of. I mean, going back to even Vinegar Syndrome, it's just amazing the stuff that they're digging up and cleaning up in a really nice way. It's funny. I mean, I've talked to a friend like that in the industry, and he was even like, yeah, half the stuff you're able to just, watch, assess, and access easily nowadays is like stuff I really had to dig for, like 20, 30 years ago. It just wasn't easy to come by. And I feel like that for sure has been a big benefit of the whole like collector's boom for sure.
Yeah, like I definitely feel like the world of physical media is changing. Like you can't go to Target or Best Buy and find things anymore. Like there was a period of time when I first got into collecting Blu-ray where you could find like Blue Underground and Code Red titles at Best Buy.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I don't remember a point in my life ever where there was so much stuff coming out that I couldn't keep up with.
No, for sure. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the weird thing about the hobby for me is I keep telling myself it's going to even be like a retirement thing for, just like have all this stuff on hand to enjoy when I get to hang around and get back to movies more. It's fun. I try to sneak it in as much as I can, but family life has definitely taken that over. So.
Oh yeah. And, and then because you have two
kids. Yeah. So.
And probably some of that's also curating things to watch as a family.
Exactly.
I don't think you can, necessarily watch Psycho Girls as a family.
Yeah.
Maybe you can. I don't know.
Yeah. No. So it's fun though. Like I get to show them really stupid things that I enjoy, like the '90s Super Mario Brothers movie and things. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film.
I think it's legitimately, and I don't say this jokingly. I legitimately think it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I mean I do too. Like I get why people don't like it because it has absolutely nothing to do with the video game, but it's just visually really fascinating to watch and. It totally goes somewhere unexpected. Like you've never seen anything else like that, which is, it's cool.
I'm such a big fan of that movie. When my wife years ago got me an all-region Blu-ray player, that was the first thing I bought from another country because it was the only way to get it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, like in a nice quality and everything like that. So.
Exactly, because like I had like the dollar bin DVD that was floating around.
Right.
But
yeah.
What a lousy kingdom. Ever since Cuba took over. And you, Cuba, you're a lousy leader.
One thing I cannot stand is naysay. Simon, de-evolve him now.
De-evolve. Cretaceous.
Our old king. You tried to get rid of him, but the king is everywhere. You can't get rid of him.
See you later, alligator. You may think of evolution as an upward process. Things evolve from primeval slime, up to single-cell organisms, up to intelligent life. De-evolution, of course, works the opposite way. Back to simpler forms. For instance, even our musical friend Toad can become a loyal child of the royal family. Goomba.
I don't know, I find myself with collecting in a very similar mindset that you have. That, you know, I can't keep up with all of it. I buy stuff that I want to watch. I just don't have the time to. But it's like you said, it's kind of like becoming like a retirement thing where eventually I'm going to watch all of it.
Yeah.
So that's the hope.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't have any other vices. So
right, exactly.
Collecting is kind of my thing. I don't spend money on alcohol or anything else. So collecting's kind of become my thing.
Yeah, same. And I mean, I don't know. It seems rather harmless in that aspect too. So I don't know. It's been fun. I love it.
So what kind of things have you, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of things have you been trying to introduce your kids to? I saw that you were working through a series of 50s films for a while, or maybe still are.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. It even kind of ties in with the movie we're going to talk about too, Sunset Boulevard. But like, yeah, Dexter got really obsessed with Marilyn Monroe for a while, and I introduced him to Audrey Hepburn, and also kind of just like melodrama stuff. He was really into black and white movies.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
not many kids are.
I know, it was great. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I think one night Mom was out and we wanted to just hang out and get a pizza and stuff, and we ended up watching Bus Stop and Picnic. So it was like, yeah, it was really weird but fun. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's funny enough. Like Picnic, I remember that was a movie my mom would watch a lot.
Yeah.
Or and when I was a kid, I told myself I had no interest in it. So I think it's cool that they do.
Yeah.
And hopefully that continues on, because like there's things that my mom or dad tried to show me when I was younger that really stuck with me. Like I love disaster films because of my mom.
Oh, sure.
And watching Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
That movie still holds up and still like edge of your seat exciting.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
But then like as a kid I couldn't get into westerns, but now I love them.
Yeah, same. My dad was into, so that's the kind of the weird thing too. I mean, I don't know that I'll ever be a huge fan of like John Wayne westerns, and so that was like my only exposure to that through my dad. But then when you find all the other kind of like goofy territories you can go with westerns, it becomes just like totally awesome to get into that genre.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's cool to see, because I'm not a parent yet. I'm hoping to be one day. But it's kind of, because that was one thing that me and my wife were talking about. Like, how do you introduce kids to things that you're passionate about without them kind of pushing back because it's something their parents are into?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I deal with that all the time. Probably more so with music, but like, yeah, you just kind of find an interest. Dexter would ask questions about actresses or actors that he would find. On the other hand, my youngest, he got super into Stranger Things, and that was a gateway to start showing him other horror movie related type stuff that he's been getting into.
And that shows a plethora for like, well, if you like this aspect, you could see this.
And like it's funny, like even like things like social media or whatever get them obsessed over things like Megan was really huge with them. So like, yeah, because of like TikTok and things like that. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think now would be a good time to move on to the movie. What do you think?
Yeah, no, totally.
So, as listeners know, normally on this show, I will sit down and write like a 3-paragraph description of the movie along with historical context and a bunch of other fun stuff. But ever since I have started doing this show completely on my own, I have been forgetting. So today, I'm going to wing it. So on today's episode of the Shameless Picture Show, we are talking about a movie that has been on my shame list for quite some time. Today I have Eric Arsnow on the show. Am I saying your last name correctly?
Yeah, Arsnow. Yeah.
Arsnow?
Yeah.
I have him on the show. Originally, I was also going to have a friend of the show, Nico Aldrich, on the show because this is one of his favorite movies. And this movie has been in my peripheries for such a long time, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not seeing it sooner. Directed by Billy Wilder from 1950, Sunset Boulevard tells the story of a screenwriter, which I'm struggling to remember his name at the moment, Joe Gillis, a screenwriter by the name of Joe Gillis, who writes pretty small, as he describes, B-level pictures. He's having some money issues, is unable to get a job that will pay him at this time, and is having problems with his car potentially getting repossessed. Well, while trying to get a job and keep the repo man at bay, he ends up pulling into the garage of a dilapidated mansion. While there, he finds that the mansion is not deserted and is in fact lived in by a classic Hollywood actress by the name of Nora Desmond and her manservant Max. While there, Joe finds himself in the middle of, I'll just be blunt, a lot of weirdness. The mansion's falling apart around them. When Joe gets there, they are about to conduct a funeral for a chimp, and he's just unsure what's going on. Once he puts together that Norma Desmond is a big name actress, and she finds out that he's a screenwriter, they get into a codependent working relationship that has Joe helping Norma rewrite this really big script that it looks like it's probably hundreds of pages when she shows it, an adaptation of the story of Salome, with hopes of her starring as the lead role so she can get herself back on top.
Hedda Hopper speaking. I'm talking from the bedroom of Norma Desmond. Don't bother with a rewrite, man. Take this direct. Ready? As day breaks over the murder house.
Yes, you'll read the big black headlines about Norma Desmond and this Hollywood scandal. But you'll never read the true story about the rest of us who were part of it. Me, for instance, Joe Gillis, a promising young writer from Dayton, Ohio. And Betty, that nice kid I met at a Hollywood party, who knew nothing about me, but knew what she wanted. Don't you love Artie?
Of course I love him. I always will. I'm just not in love with him anymore.
What happened?
You did?
Well, we should have lived happily ever after, like they do in the movies. But this was different, because this is a Hollywood story about the people who make the movies. The little ones that you never hear of, like Betty and me. The great ones, like Cecil B. DeMille. All those who knew Norma Desmond, a strange woman who left her mark on all of us who crossed her path.
Has it ever occurred to you that I may have a life of my own, that there may be some girl that I'm crazy about?
Who? Some car hop or a dress extra?
What I'm trying to say is that I'm all wrong for you. You want a Valentino, somebody with polo ponies, a big shot.
What you're trying to say is you don't want me to love you. Say it. Say it.
Gloria Swanson, one of the great personalities of this generation in a role that comes to an actress once in a lifetime. Rising to the heights, William Holden creates a startling portrayal. And a new star is born in Sunset Boulevard, Miss Nancy Olson.
Joe? Where are you? What's this all about?
Why don't you come out and see for yourself? The address is 10,086 Sunset Boulevard.
Yes, come out to see for yourself the film that reaches a new milestone of dramatic daring. The film that every critic says is a giant among motion pictures.
didn't get the chance to research as much as I wanted to, so I don't have as much historical context as I would want to. So let's just talk about the movie a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So when I sent out trying to get people to be on this season of the podcast, there was 2 movies that you chose that you said you wanted to be part of. It was this one and it was Possession.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your history with this movie.
Yes, ironically, I'm kind of in a similar boat. I caught it a few years ago. The last place I worked at, we started a film club, and it was a pick from one of my coworkers. It had always been on my radar as well. And I don't know, it just really hit me hard. It's a very cool film. Stylistically, it blends a lot of interesting things where it's very film noir. At the same time, it's also very melodramatic, and even kind of taps into like gothic horror a little bit with some of the atmosphere and just vibe of the art direction. So I don't know, it's a great film.
Yeah, so as I said, this was my first time seeing it, and I was kind of blown away by it because I didn't know what to expect going into this movie. I feel like as a movie, I had a very clear image in my mind of what this movie was going to be or what it was going to be about. It actually kind of reminded me of when I saw Apocalypse Now. I wasn't ready for the movie that I actually got when I finally saw it.
Oh, sure.
Because I knew it was a movie about old Hollywood, and I knew it was a movie about an actress who has not been relevant in a long time, trying to make herself relevant again. But I wasn't expecting, like you said, the gothic horror elements. I wasn't expecting the noir elements, and I wasn't expecting it to feel as contemporary and modern as it did, considering its age.
Yeah, it's very strange how it is a timeless story about like opportunists, and I mean, anybody who's been creative, they kind of have an understanding of what it feels like to be appreciated for your creativity. Mm-hmm. And then the whole dilemma with like ageism and how that comes into play. And that I think even more specifically in the creative field, it's hard to grow old in what you do because there's always going to be that new up and comer. So it deals with that narrative a lot too, which is really fascinating and timeless because it's a never ending thing, you know?
And I was surprised too, just by, for lack of a better term, how many like inside baseball references there were in this movie that I just didn't know how they would translate to audience at the time, because 1950, there wasn't as much in terms of there was film criticism, don't get me wrong, but people weren't writing about movies the way that we do now. People weren't really making movies about making movies the way we do now.
Yeah.
And so much so that it honestly feels like Damien Chazelle was trying to make a prequel to this movie when he made Babylon.
Sure. Yeah. Well, like, so the interesting thing about this too, I was looking into it a little bit, is like, this is like one of the first films that was a movie about making movies, and to the degree where it like, kind of got into like a seedy underbelly, like the things you didn't want to see about Hollywood. And I guess Billy Wilder had felt like he had the opportunity to take a chance because a few years earlier, I'm going to forget what film it was for, but he had won his first Oscar.
Okay.
And so he felt like it was like one of his first, he's actually, okay, so yeah, I'll backtrack a little bit. He's actually like a German immigrant to Hollywood. He left Germany during World War II. Actually, with the composer of this film, they were like really good friends. And then
and Franz Waxman?
Yeah, and so they landed in Paris for a little bit and were making films there, but eventually worked their way to Hollywood. And so, like, yeah, he finally was working his way up the chain, won his first Oscar, was getting welcomed to like a lot more Hollywood events and parties and things like that, and he started to see like the leftover of the silent era of like 1930s actors and actresses just out of work, and it was kind of sad and depressing, but inspiring to him to then go and write this film, which I'm gonna forget his writing partner's name, but like they were very nervous about it, but it was strange. They had Paramount's full support to use the studio name and things like that, and then I guess even when they finished the film, and started screening it. They didn't screen it in California right away. The first place was actually in Illinois to do test screening, just because they were a little bit worried about potential backlash for the film, but then ended up not really getting a ton of it. So
yeah, because like now it's just so common that we know how the film industry works.
Yeah,
I don't imagine a family in Illinois knew that, or even probably knew much of that there was much of a seedy underbelly to it, or because like I've talked about this before on the show, it's the transition from silent pictures to sound left a lot of people in the dust.
Right. Yeah, and I guess to even clarify that plot point for people tuning in, it's like what ends up happening is Norma Desmond was a really good face of the silent era age of making films, but then just did not translate well to the talkies and acting as a vocal actress, so she got pretty much left to the wayside. And that's kind of like the crux of the whole film.
Yeah, and it's actually I appreciate that they gave the performance that I'm struggling to think of names too, that Gloria Swanson did for Norma, because it was a very unflattering like vocal performance.
Yes.
And and I kept thinking, because there was a scene near the end of the film where Norma is harassing the Joe's writing partner, the woman that he's working with.
Oh yeah, Betty Schaefer.
And they say on the phone, it's like, oh, it's the woman with the weird voice again.
Yeah, yeah.
And for people out there listening who don't know, so many people, if they didn't have an appealing voice, they wouldn't get work anymore.
Yeah, right.
And she kept saying, it's like, oh, you don't need dialogue, I have a face.
Yes.
And they never explicitly say it, but I really get the feeling that she just couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
With performing while having to talk.
So, and the interesting thing too about all that is Billy Wilder actually cast Gloria Swanson wasn't his first pick. There was like some prima donna actresses he kind of went through that had some special requests, whether it was dialogue changes or they wanted rights to the negative, so he ended up passing on them. But Gloria Swanson was a working silent film actress from the 1930s, and then funny enough, like this film ended up kind of being her real comeback. And I was reading, she kind of struggled afterwards a bit, where she didn't want to continue doing films because the types of offers she kept getting were based on this character. And she kind of got pigeonholed into like, well, we want you to be like Norma Desmond, or, have this really big.
Yeah, she probably got a lot of those like crazy hag roles.
Yeah,
I think that's what John Waters calls them, like this and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, and
right. So yeah, she just kind of disappeared again into it. But I mean, this film was a huge success for everybody involved, and obviously now has grown a reputation to be quite a pillar of reference and importance in the Hollywood community.
Lady, you got the wrong man. I had some trouble with my car, flat tire. I pulled into your garage until I could get a spare. I thought this was an empty house.
It is not. Get out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you lost your friend. And I don't think red is the right color. Wait a minute, haven't I seen you before? I know your face.
Get out, or shall I call my servant?
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures, used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
Uh-huh. I knew there was something wrong.
They're dead. They're finished. There was a time in this business when they had the eyes of the whole wide world. But that wasn't good enough for them. Oh, no. They had to have the ears of the world, too. So they opened their big mouths, and out came talk. Talk, talk.
That's where the popcorn business comes in. You buy yourself a bag and plug up your ears.
Look at them in the front offices. The masterminds. They took the idols and smashed them. The Fairbankses, the Gilberts, the Valentinos. And who have we got now? Some nobody.
Don't blame me. I'm not an executive, just a writer.
And it feels like an anomaly of a movie, because even more so, you have Erich von Stroheim playing Max. For listeners who don't know, Erich von Stroheim not only was an actor, but he was a pretty prolific director as well.
Yeah.
So much so that the scene in this movie where they are showing one of Norma Desmond's movies is actually a movie that Erich von Stroheim directed, starring Gloria Swanson.
Right. Yeah. And he was like he had his own shortcomings too. I was reading and think like it was the movie Greed was kind of like the start of his end, where it ended up being like a really long production, costing a lot, and so like yeah, kind of like this whole film was kind of built on real actual actors, actresses, directors who were failed participants in the whole Hollywood system.
And that makes it even more, because like obviously they had Buster Keaton in a scene,
yeah,
which amused the hell out of me because I'm a big Buster Keaton fan, so it's just interesting to see him play himself.
Yeah,
I think they had H.B. Warner, I think, was in this as well. But so you have, like I said, Erich von Stroheim and Gloria Swanson, people who had started in the silent era and had their success and kind of stayed relevant. Like they didn't necessarily full on disappear, but were a lot less popular. And then it's even more surprising that they were able to get Cecil B. DeMille to play himself, probably the biggest success story of people transitioning from the silent era.
Yeah. And that the draw there, actually, the only reason he did do it was because of Gloria Swanson. He was a really big fan of hers and champion of her. So, but
see that I didn't know.
Yeah, and it was great. I mean, his whole bit in there that's such an incredible scene. How that all plays out, where there's like a mishap where Norma, the character Norma Desmond, thinks she's gonna get her big chance back in Hollywood for the Solomon character, and is pitching DeMille to direct it, and goes to set to visit DeMille, and he's all like, confused because she's not supposed to be there, and a lot of the crew and stuff.
It's very much like when she shows up, it's like he is not sure how the rest of his day is gonna go.
Right.
Her being there is not a good thing.
Right. And then so then the crew and stuff start recognizing her, and it's kind of this whole like weird fantastical moment where it's very surreal, and they start almost kind of shining a light on her, like this is going to be a big Hollywood moment, and it all gets taken away pretty quickly when they realize that they were just wanting to rent Norma Desmond's car for a different film, and then DeMille just like totally kills that idea because he doesn't even want to, lead her on or let her know that it was a mistake, that the film's not going to happen. So, yeah,
and because in the context of the movie, they give the Norma Desmond claims that her DeMille's biggest pictures starred her.
Yes.
So they, at least one point in their careers, had been very close, and with Norma Desmond's pretty open talk about suicidal ideation, and honestly, just her delusion of thinking that she's still a big star.
Yeah.
I imagine that he has been pushing himself away for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like he was trying to distance himself, but yet, I mean, it's such an incredible acting role for a director, like a real director, because it's just handled so masterfully and very credible, like his reactions, and you can tell he has like a genuine care for the Norma Desmond character. It's just like, he's like,
and it was probably easy for him to do because he not only he knew actors and actresses like that who just couldn't hang, and it's tough when you're in a situation of power like him. And honestly, I want to say too, I really thought, like, when they kept saying, Norma Desmond's here for Mr. DeMille, and they kept like passing from person to person, I was like, there's no way Cecil B. DeMille's going to be in this movie. And then when he was, I had to look it up. It's like, wait, that looks like him.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's like, oh shit, it really was him.
Yeah.
I really thought it was gonna just be like, you'd see the back of a chair and like a cigar, like almost like like the Claw from Inspector Gadget. Never actually see his face, and like you said, he gives a really good performance.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is he knew people like that, as I said, like who couldn't hang. And when you have a position of power like he does, he could probably make a phone call and get Norma Desmond in a role.
Yeah.
If he really wanted
Yeah.
to. But he doesn't. And it's not any reflection on his opinions on Norma Desmond. I'm sure he loves her as a person. I think it's the kind of that weight of power. Like, you can't necessarily give handouts to everyone just because you like them.
Yeah.
And when he's speaking to Gloria Swanson and just the way that he handles a lot of those scenes, it just, to me, really read as someone, you've been in this position.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what this feels like. And I think he's also aware that, because it's not just actors and actresses that struggled. There's a lot of directors who couldn't grasp the world of sound.
Yes. Yeah.
I've seen movies during those early days of sound pictures where they would put, the microphone in a centerpiece and people leaning too closely over. Like, sound changed people's blocking quite a bit.
Yeah.
You no longer were as free as they had been. You can't just put the camera anywhere now.
Yeah.
Because if you some of those old silent films, they're being reckless where they put the camera sometimes.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do that. So I think he's aware too that he is lucky to be where he is.
Right. He was able to transition. And it's kind of the thing with like any sort of creative endeavor. There's always like a new tool that presents itself. Like, even right now we're going through the whole like AI debate. But it's kind of a similar thing. Like, there's, careers that evolve based on things like that, or things that start to fade away. And for the people that are fading away, like, Cecil B. DeMille could have easily faded away. Like some of those other directors, they kind of have to problem solve in a different way. And it's kind of like you either succeed or you don't.
Yeah. And I dealt with that in just a very small way, not even in the same way that he did. But when I was first getting into the world of video editing and trying to market myself as doing that was right around the time that After Effects came out.
Oh, sure.
And I couldn't wrap my mind around that program to save my life.
Yeah.
And I started thinking, it's like, oh shit, well, there goes so many opportunities for me because I don't know how to do After Effects. And I've learned a couple things, but I know how that feels, to feel like you're being left behind.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily mean you are, but you have that panic that I can't keep up.
And there's always I work in that field, video editing, animation, stuff like that. I constantly have on my mind that there will be a day where what I know won't be good enough. 'Cause it always happens. It's just, you try to, I think a big part of like success, and probably in DeMille's case too, is like, there's an extension of like knowing how to be creative and also just knowing how to be a good person and work as a teammate, or like surround yourself with other good people to succeed at a common goal. And I think like a lot of that has, comes into play for a longer term success. Where like, if you get on other people's level and have friends that you bring up or treat well and work on these creative projects together, and that gains success, you can continue, snowballing until that runs out,
No, but I must apologize for not calling you.
You'd better. I'm very angry.
Well, you can see I'm terribly busy.
That's no excuse. You read the script, of course?
Yes, I did.
Then you could have picked up the telephone yourself instead of leaving it to one of your assistants.
What assistant?
Now, don't play innocent. Somebody named Gordon Cole.
Gordon Cole?
And if you hadn't been pretty darn interested in that script, he wouldn't have tried to get me on the telephone 10 times.
Gordon Cole? Look, Norma, I'm in the middle of a rehearsal. Now, why don't you just sit up here in my chair and make yourself comfortable,
Thank you.
That's the girl. Yeah. I won't be a moment. Bring me a telephone and get me Gordon Cole.
Right.
Miss Desmond! Miss Desmond! It's me! It's Hawkeye!
Hello, Hawkeye.
Let's get a good look at you!
Look, there's Norma Desmond.
Norma Desmond. Norma Desmond.
Why, I thought she was dead.
How nice to see you.
Welcome home, Miss Desmond. You remember me, don't you?
Miss Desmond.
Hello.
Does she look wonderful?
Hello, Bessie.
Oh, Mr. Wilcox, have you met Miss Desmond?
It's a great pleasure.
Norma.
Gordon, this is C.B. DeMille. Have you been calling Norma Desmond?
Yes, Mr. DeMille. It's that car of hers, an old Isata Fraschini. Her chauffeur drove it in on the lot the other day. It looks just right for the Crosby picture. We want to rent it for a couple of weeks.
Oh, I see.
And one thing that struck me, so I'll admit, movies from the 1950s are still a little bit of a blind spot for me. It's kind of something I've been retroactively going back and trying to get myself more into.
Sure.
Which is why I programmed this movie into this season. The relationship between Norman Desmond and Joe Gillis, and William Holden does a phenomenal job as Joe Gillis. That felt very unlike anything I had seen in films from that time period.
Oh, 100%. It's kind of a little bit taboo in a way. And I mean, I was even reading an article where they talked about the suggestion of them having more of a deeper romantic relationship than what is shown on film, but because of the code era, they couldn't show it anyway. But because of the fact that they weren't allowed to show that, how it kind of even heightened it and made it a little bit more creepy. Because I mean, like, the thing is like, Joe Gillis walks in right when they're about to bury this pet chimp, as you mentioned earlier. And I feel like he kind of quickly became a replacement for that void that Norma Desmond had of, like, you know, that companionship at the house, where all of a sudden, you know, she was, you know, just flaunting tons of money at him and gifts and things like that. And he just started taking it. It kind of was like an emasculating, you know, scenario for him, because he was trying to get real work, but he's like, well, this, you know, older actress is just going to keep giving me things, so I'm just going to ride this out.
And he was against it at first, but he never fought that hard to get away from it.
Yeah. And so then that's the kind of like the weird relationship that developed is, this weird companionship that was kind of toxic and unhealthy in some ways, because, you know, neither of them were really getting something true out of it, you know?
No, and it's me and my wife were actually discussing that, and I like what you said when you said that because we didn't see as much, or because of the Hays Code, that we couldn't know exactly what was going on between them. It definitely made it far more uncomfortable, because we were debating whether or not they had. It definitely wasn't a romantic relationship in that. 'Cause, I don't think Joe ever hid the fact that he wasn't interested in her.
Right.
But we were debating whether or not it was a potential sexual relationship.
Yeah.
And there was one moment in the movie that made me think that it was, or if he was just her pet.
And I think it kind of was a bit of that, but I definitely feel like, yeah, it alluded to like things beyond what we were seeing too.
Yeah, especially during because I just kept thinking throughout the movie, it's like, now's your chance to escape, get away, run away.
Yeah.
Like when he's at the mansion, it makes sense. Like, granted, he could have hoofed it, but you know, when he's at the mansion, it makes sense because he's so far removed from everything. But when she's taking you shopping in the city, you could just slip out,
right?
And she wouldn't know, and he never did.
Yeah.
But there's that scene where after the New Year's Eve party, which was so. So I love that band got paid to just
hang.
Yeah. If your band got that offer, would you take it?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where like they were probably duped into thinking it was a real New Year's Eve party too.
That's fair.
But they showed up and like absolutely nobody was there, and it was completely awkward. And
I do love that they kept playing. Though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, well into when they should have stopped.
Yeah,
they just
and
kept
left.
going.
Yeah.
Pure professionals.
Yeah.
But you know, he Joe escapes. He goes to his friend's place. I love that one scene he asks if he could sleep on their couch, and then the very next scene he's already trying to steal his best friend's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, it's like
Yeah.
instantaneously.
Yeah.
And then he gets the call from Max that Norma
yeah
tried to kill herself.
Yeah. And he goes running back.
And I don't remember exactly what is said between them, but the scene ends with, looks like Norma moving in for a kiss, and the camera and the editing fades out.
Yeah.
And that's what made me think, it's like, oh, I think there's probably more than just companionship going on.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I totally get the same vibe from that too, and it's just a weird situation they found themselves in, and I feel like that guilt definitely comes to a head towards the end of the film. I'm probably skipping over a lot, but it's just
that's the beauty of this show. It can go wherever it needs to go.
Sure. I mean, it's crazy though, because like he has this boiling point moment. It's actually going back to that phone call you're talking about, the woman with the weird voice, and Norma Desmond bugging Betty Schaefer, like, I know where Joe Gillis is hanging out kind of thing, where he gets on the phone, takes it from Norma, and tells Betty, here's the address, show up.
I can't believe she came.
Yeah. And it's like probably the middle of the night, really late at night, or early morning even, because he was going back and forth, Yeah. So like, but yeah, like shows up, and then he just totally unloads, and it was probably like, let go of all this like pent up, like, this is a really weird situation I am, but this is what's going on, to the point where he makes himself a creepy character to scare her off and go marry her fiance Artie.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about that, because I was trying to figure out what he was trying to accomplish in that scene.
Yeah.
And it really felt like he was trying to scare her off.
Yeah, he knew that like Artie was a more stable situation for her. I mean, obviously he was kind of a bad person for trying to steal her from Artie, and then the just ongoing weirdness of being this like, essentially like a pet for Norma Desmond for assuming at least a year or two at that point, just total weirdness.
Yeah, and it was, and any chance that because she threw him a lot of bones to try to get him writing work, or to try to get him involved, and he shot them all down.
Yeah. To
the point where like I feel like when he started helping Betty, he had no interest in writing that script.
No, not at all.
I honestly feel, because like once upon a time you could be a working screenwriter and make a living. He was just under making a living.
Yeah.
But I honestly got the feeling from his craft with screenwriting is that he didn't necessarily like doing it. He was just good enough at it that he could get stuff sold. So the second he found that he doesn't have to write to make a living,
right?
I think he kind of just jumped on that idea.
Well, and like, I mean, at that point in his life too, he was also in a lot of trouble. I mean, he had the people trying to repo his car and all that sort of thing. And I mean, even that's a kind of funny moment where they finally did find his car, and Norma Desmond's like, well, what are you worried about that for? Max will drive us anywhere, kind of thing.
Yeah, we have a car.
Yeah. So like, it's like he's just getting this luxury lifestyle thrown in his face, and just kind of succumbs to it, and is like, just like, whatever, I'll just roll with it.
Yeah, and there's such a one. I'm surprised with the Hays Code that they could even allude to suicide at all in this.
Yeah,
like that shocked me when they were they didn't just kind of hint at it; they straight out said it.
Yeah,
and they showed her wrist bandaged up. It's like, I didn't think they could. Hell, they couldn't show a toilet.
Right.
But they could show that. They couldn't show two people in bed together, but they could show that.
Yeah, I mean, it's intense, and there's like a lot of like weird little dark things like that just made it all that more effective and unnerving for sure.
2 or 3 times a week, Max would haul up that enormous oil painting that had been presented to her by some Nevada Chamber of Commerce, and we'd see a movie right in her living room. So much nicer than going out, she'd say. The plain fact was she was afraid of that world outside. Afraid it would remind her that time had passed. They were silent movies, and Max would run the projection machine, which was just as well. It kept him from giving us an accompaniment on that wheezing organ. She'd sit very close to me, and she'd smell of tube roses, which is not my favorite perfume, not by a long shot. Sometimes, as we watched, she'd clutch my arm or my hand, forgetting she was my employer, just becoming a fan, excited about that actress up there on the screen. I guess I don't have to tell you who the star was. They were always her pictures. That's all she wanted to see.
Mm-hmm. But the moment where, because this movie is so smart with the way that it's written.
Yeah.
Where every time I feel like I know what's happening or what's going on, something shifts, a perspective changes, and finding out, because like throughout the entire movie, I kept thinking about the character of Max. I'm like, he's not. If movies have taught me anything, I thought he was going to be a lot more standoffish against Joe, and he was a little bit at the beginning. But I was always surprised by how much he was opening up to him.
Sure, yeah,
and how much it felt like he was legitimately trying to help him.
Yeah.
And then when you find out his history with Norma, for me, I think it changes the entire movie.
Yeah, that he was also a failed film director and first husband, and yeah.
And it's got a very, it almost reminds me of Let the Right One In.
Sure.
Where, you have the old guy taking care of the young vampire, and she finds someone new to play with.
Yeah, yeah.
And then that will take his place. And I just kept thinking, is this
passing the baton?
Is this Joe's eventual fate? Is he going to become the butler?
Yeah, yeah.
Because like the entire time, like now I was thinking back to the film, and I was like, oh, this is just so heartbreaking because he's doing all these things, not because he has to, because he legitimately wants to.
Yeah.
Because he still loves Norma.
Well, and that's even the crazy thing to think about too, is like how weird and broken of a person Max had to have been to like not only put up with that, but like his relationship with her as her butler and things like that is very standoffish. Like he doesn't have a romantic connection to her anymore. He just observes, and he's doing a lot of strange things that she isn't aware of just to try and make sure that she's happy, whether it's writing fan letters for her to send responses to, or even with the car situation with DeMille, he was another one who's like, we absolutely cannot tell her, like I'll make her believe that this film is going to happen as long as I have to,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was, and the way that they trickled in the information about Max was fascinating too. Because like I said, Erich von Stroheim, who played Max, he directed the was that Greed that they were showing on the wall?
No, I can't remember the name of the film. But.
Well, they were showing one of the movies that Gloria Swanson starred in that he actually made. And thinking about it, it's like more than likely in this world, that was probably one of the movies that Max directed.
Yeah, yeah.
But later on when they're at Paramount, Max kind of has a throwaway line, and he said, "Oh, I remember when my office was up there.
Yep.
And I remember it had leather walls or something like that." And I was thinking, it's like, wait, how long have you been? My first thought was, how long have you been with Norma? Did you have an office? And now finding out that he was a failed director, it's like, oh, he had an office there because he worked at this studio.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, I kind of got emotional near the final scene of the film, where Max is directing the news cameras to make Norma think it's a movie. And it's, to see his command of the cameras and what he's like, oh, he knows his craft.
Yeah.
And you almost wonder too if he could have made that transition, but he didn't want to do it without Norma.
Oh, sure. That's a good point. Yeah.
Like, I feel like I started getting the feeling that he could have been where DeMille's at.
Yeah.
But he saw that she wasn't making it and he didn't want to go without her.
Yeah, and he even compared himself to other famous directors because he had tossed like Griffith's name in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in this realm of Hollywood, he was at the top at one point, is what he alluded to. So.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't. I don't think he ever specifically said what changed. He just said he couldn't hack it.
Yeah.
And I don't think D.W. Griffith really transitioned out of. I don't think he really transitioned well either.
No. Yeah.
So out of that group, it was pretty much just DeMille, and he wasn't mentioned, but John Ford is one of those directors that definitely transitioned. And
What is it, Max? Want to wash the car? Or are you doing a little spying in your off hours?
You must be very careful as you cross the patio. Madame may be watching.
How about going up the kitchen stairs and undressing in the dark? Will that do it?
I'm not inquiring where Mr. Gillis goes every night.
Why don't you? I'm writing a script, and I'm going to finish it, no matter what.
It is just that I'm greatly worried about Madame.
Sure you are. And we're not helping her any. Feeding her lies and more lies. Getting herself ready for a picture. What happens when she finds out?
She never will. That is my job, and it has been for a long time. You must understand, I discovered her when she was 16. I made her a star, and I cannot let her be destroyed.
You made her a star?
Yes. I directed all her early films. There were 3 young directors who showed promise in those days. D.W. Griffith, Cecil B. DeMille, and Max von Mayerling.
And she's turned you into a servant.
It was I who asked to come back, humiliating as it may seem. I could have continued my career, only I found everything unendurable after she had left me. You see, I was her first husband.
so yeah, there's so many layers that except when I was surprised when I did a little bit of research on this film to find that, for all things considered, it was a hit.
Yeah.
It was nominated for Oscars, did not win nearly as many as it should have. Gloria Swanson should have won for this role.
It did win for the screenplay though, and didn't the soundtrack win too, I believe?
Yes, it was best scoring back when they used to do dramatic or comedy.
And Edith Head, I believe, won for costume design too.
I've actually got it pulled up in front of me. She did not.
Oh,
it
she
won
didn't.
for best story and screenplay. It won best art direction and set design for a black and white film, and then best scoring of a dramatic or comedy picture.
But yeah,
it doesn't even look like Edith Head was nominated.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is surprising to me.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, definitely. And for anyone out there who is not familiar with her name, be sure to look it up because she is prolific in the world of cinema. But I was surprised that something this dense, like if I feel like I was expecting this to find out that this movie was not really a hit and then it was reassessed later on, but to find that it was a big film surprised me in a good way. That I was happy to find out that people were responding to something that, all things considered, was pretty weird.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe it's just because there was the bigger audience there is obviously all the folks working in Hollywood. And it's probably something that they could relate to. And for the people who didn't know that lifestyle, it probably was really eye-opening to them, you know?
Yeah, because like from everything that I have learned about the world of Hollywood, this is a pretty accurate representation of the life that a lot of these people lived. Like I made reference to it earlier, but not too sure what you thought about the movie, but Damien Chazelle's Babylon feels like it lives in the same world as this.
Yeah.
And for anyone interested in that transition from silent to sound, there is an extremely stressful scene in there about them trying to shoot a scene with sound for the first time, and it's a fucking disaster.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's such a great correlation to this too.
And yeah, I just watched it last night, and I've been thinking about it all day, and I'm actually glad that I bought it, because when I went to go, I was originally going to get it from the library, and they didn't. None of the libraries by me had it, and nothing ever transitions very fast at the library, so I knew I wasn't going to get it. So I decided to go to iTunes and just see what I can rent it for, and it was only $1 more to buy it. So I decided to buy it. I don't buy many things digitally, and I already want to go and rewatch it. I feel kind of spellbound by this movie.
Yeah, and there's so much to it that's just interesting to learn about it too. I mean, this is definitely like kind of, I think a lot of people consider it like the quintessential peak of Billy Wilder's career, but he's done a lot of fantastic stuff too. Did a lot of Marilyn Monroe's most famous movies, like Some Like It Hot. So I mean, he's an interesting film director. He actually was, I was reading, like, one of the first people that kind of established the idea of a writer-director role, because not a lot of folks had taken on that sort of thing prior to him. So
yeah, that's interesting in itself, how that eventually started becoming more of a thing, like how that wasn't really a thing.
Yeah,
like it was kind of a thing in the silent era, but they didn't necessarily always have scripts for those. Like, you know, a lot of the comedians, they would just kind of come up with their bits and throw a story together. I used to have this habit of just going through, when I was in college, and if I was ever stressed out, I'd have this really goofy game where I would I would go to the oldest movie that I could find a random crew member, and then just start making a web of all the different things that they've done.
Oh, sure.
Just because I was curious throughout the time, and it was interesting how few crew positions those old movies had. It actually reminds me a lot of when I was just shooting stuff in college, and it was like the bare minimum. You'd have someone there to roll the camera, someone helping with costumes, maybe, you know, you had an editor, and then that was kind of it, like just the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And to see how, like, nowadays, like, credits are sometimes like 10 minutes long because there's so many people.
Yeah, it's insane.
But no, this movie really stuck with me, and I said to you before that the 1950s were kind of a blind spot for me, so I'm looking forward to going back through, not seeing more movies from the time period, because I have seen some, obviously, but then seeing more of Billy Wilder's films. Have you showed this to your kids yet?
No, not yet. I think more so, like, Dex might be into this now at his age, but like it's a lot of heavy stuff for them to pick up on or understand, probably even appreciate to a degree. The suicide thing's a little intense too, but
that's definitely going to be a hard one for kids. It's tough anyways.
Yeah. But I could see Dexter being fascinated with it because he's always into really big personalities, and Norma Desmond definitely is the epitome of that type of Hollywood character.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one thing I was going to mention earlier is this is one of those movies where, now that I've seen it, I get a lot of the references that I see from it.
Yeah.
You know, like, for example, the final line, "I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille." Like, I just heard that line
forever,
and I had no idea where it came from.
Yeah.
Like, I knew who Cecil B. DeMille was. I didn't know it was actually a line from a movie.
Right. Yeah, that was the same thing for me when it finally hit. Yeah.
And then I love that was the close-up she went with. Was this really just like almost like vampiric style of walking, and I just feel like this is a movie that I'm gonna unravel the more I go along. And before I get to the section I told you about, the Thrill House moment, I wanted to actually get your opinion on something.
Sure.
Since you have seen a lot of films from this time period, I was actually going to hit you up for any recommendations you might have. Things that you've shown your kids and they've liked, or things that you feel like might be similar. Just anything that comes off the top of your head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I brought up before, like, huge fan of Douglas Sirk. And he was really coming into his own with the melodrama thing around this point with, like, Magnificent Obsession and All That Heaven Allows. I would totally get into those if you haven't seen either of them.
I have not. This Obsession and Only Heaven Allows.
Yeah, I always watch All That Heaven Allows like around Christmas time for some reason. But it's a really fascinating story. Like, not to like get into that a ton, but kind of deals with ageism too. Rock Hudson is like the main guy in that film, and he's a younger gentleman who takes interest in an older woman who's a widow. And kind of plays off of like why this love relationship shouldn't be happening, and it's really good. I love that movie.
Oh, and you mentioning the ageism, that's actually something that we hadn't really gotten a chance to discuss too much. I remember turning to my wife at one point and saying, because before I watched the movie, I didn't look into anyone who was in it. Because I just kind of wanted to go in as blind as possible. Yeah. So, I wasn't familiar. I knew the name Gloria Swanson, but I hadn't realized that she had been an actress in the silent era. Yeah. And I remember saying to my wife, it's like, I can't tell if she's a younger actress they've aged up, or an older actress that they've made look younger. Because she didn't look as old as I was expecting her to look.
Sure. Yeah.
And then when she had said in the film that she was 50, it kind of like blew me away, because like, that's consider that she's washed up by 50.
Right.
And she said she hadn't worked in like 20 years. Yeah. It's like, so you stopped having a career at 30. Yeah. And it's like, no wonder she has such a tough time, because like she was just hitting her prime. Yeah. And they kicked her to the curb.
And I mean, it's crazy. Like, I do a lot of advertising, and in that industry, it's kind of the same thing. And it's really sad to see happen to just really smart people. Like, it's like everybody kind of leans towards the younger generation from the thought that it's up and coming, but they can also pay them less. That's kind of what it ultimately comes down to a lot of the time too. But there's so much knowledge and just like a wealth of creativity from people who've been doing it forever, that it's kind of sad when the ageism thing comes into play and it all just gets phased out. And I'm sure that's what a lot of these characters were going through in this film.
Yeah, because like, how many, like, nowadays it's well, one, people age differently now than they used to. It's like someone 50 now doesn't look like they did back then. Right. And also, like, people just weirdly look younger all the time. Like, I couldn't tell you how old William Holden was. It's like, I just figured he was around the same age. Yeah. Just because he just looked older than he was probably playing.
And that always happens around that time period too. So it's...
yeah, like, or like that. It happens a lot with old pro wrestling. Like, there's a wrestler from back in the day named Arn Anderson, and when he had his big heyday in the 80s, they're like, oh, he was 30 years old. I'm like, he looks fucking 50. Are you sure he's 30? You're like, he's already got like my grandfather's hairline. Yeah. So that was fascinating to me, because nowadays it's not uncommon. Like, Charlize Theron, she's probably getting close to that age, and she's working now more than ever.
That's true. Yeah.
But I don't know necessarily what it's like from a advertising aspect, but there is still, like, I work with some really talented actors on some stuff that I've been doing, who just, they keep getting passed up by things because they're told they look too old.
Right. Or you start getting the roles that you don't want either. Like, I know a lot of those folks always get stuck in more like parental roles or things like that too. And
I felt bad. So one of the first things I made when I was in school was a movie that was about my grandfather, and to reach out to people who I thought looked old enough for the part, was tough because so many of them were like, "What do you want me to play grandfather for? I'm not ready to play that yet."
Sure,
Like,
sure.
"Oh." And then I realized, I guess that was kind of insulting. But I don't know how to approach this.
Right,
Like,
this is what you need to do. So it's
you look of the right age. Like you could play it on camera, but that's also kind of insulting, I guess. So it's tough, and especially for women. Women get treated completely different
100%
than men do. Like, you still see this. How often do you have like a 30, 40, 50, sometimes even year old man partnered up with a woman who's significantly younger,
right?
But yet they're supposed to be played as the same age,
right? Yeah.
So I don't know. This movie has a lot to say about, ageism. Has a lot to say about mental illness, I think.
Yeah.
Untraditional relationships.
Yeah. And like opportunity too, like what it can do. Opportunity can always be a good thing, but in this case, it's kind of manipulative. I mean, even Betty Schaefer's character is more or less trying to launch her career by using Joe Gillis's, story. So it's like there's not 100% good things that these characters are doing with their lives either. So.
No, definitely not. And hell, even Betty's fiance, the
Artie,
assistant director, he's just trying to get himself on any job anywhere,
yeah.
no matter what. Like when they were talking about writing a picture, he was like, "Oh, put a lot of background action so I can get a job."
Yeah.
I thought that was a great little throwaway line. But yeah, I loved this movie, and it was definitely one of the surprises of this season, because I kind of went in with an idea of what I thought this movie was going to be about, and couldn't ever anticipate where it was going, and that ending is just amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you can't help but think it's fueled so many creative ideas for other artists. Like, I could see this being a big one for Quentin Tarantino, and even his passion for Hollywood with, Once Upon a Time and stuff like that too. So
yeah, definitely. Or other ones like The Player or Boogie Nights.
Yeah,
I saw a lot of Boogie Nights in this.
Yeah, 100%.
And and I just completely forgot about it, but how fucking wild it must have felt back in 1950 to have your narrator actually be dead.
Oh yeah.
Like when that began and we were hearing his voice and everything, and he was talking about some screenwriter getting shot, and I was like, oh, well, this guy's gonna tell us the story of what had happened. But then I got lulled into such a comfort of him telling the story, I forgot that who he was talking about and hadn't put it together until it happened.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was gonna ask you about that because I was looking into how they did that shot, and I guess because underwater cameras didn't exist at that time, they actually put a mirror at the bottom of the pool. And so like that, the way that the mirror was reflecting that scene also distorted William Holden a little bit, where like I didn't even recognize and put two and two together until the very last scene, that the person we were looking at in the beginning of the film was in fact pretty much a linchpin and main character for telling this story.
Yeah. I honestly thought, because I had remembered a little bit that it was a screenwriter who was shot, and I just kept thinking, well, I bet Norma brings in someone else to help write this script, and then he gets jealous or something. I wasn't anticipating it to be him.
Yeah.
And that was such a great the way it subverted my expectations, with that noir like voiceover, and because like I feel like I remember I had a screenwriting teacher one time tell me that he's like, voiceovers don't work because if you have your lead character doing a voiceover, there's never any danger. Well, this movie proves that you can do it.
Oh yeah. And I was reading, too, the reason why Billy Wilder liked it so much is it just helps move the exposition along really quickly. And he just loved telling a story, like big stories. So
definitely. when I told you about the show, I had mentioned that a section of the show we do is the Thrill House moment, the moment where it just kind of you were hooked, you were clenched in, or even your favorite scene. Do you have a scene like that from you can remember the first time you saw it, or this most recent viewing that just kind of locked you in?
Yeah, and weirdly enough, kind of getting back to even just like the idea of pacing of this film, they do a really interesting job of I don't know, is like I've read something about like there being like a 15-minute like screenwriting method where like you try to like evolve the story every 15 minutes to keep it interesting. In context, I'd read it specifically with Cronenberg, and I think when he was doing Eastern Promises, you could almost like wear a watch and like it'd be on the mark. But I guess where I'm getting with that is this thing pivots constantly. It is so intriguing. And so like for me, it was like almost a few moments. Like the way they set the film up is so engaging from the get-go, where like the title of the film is spray painted on the side of the sidewalk. Yeah, and then it is just moving around the asphalt on the road. And then eventually does a 180 pivot with the camera when it comes up and it's looking at some cop cars coming towards, and does a 180 pivot. And you see these cop cars zoom by, and then you find out, that it's Joe Gillis's body floating in the pool. So like, I mean, that alone just set up like a lot of intrigue for me. But then even like simple stuff like getting into it with the chimp hand falling from beneath the blanket. It's just these weird little things that they allude to that capture your imagination and kind of set you up from what's coming. And then the biggest pivotal one for me was then just absolutely how bonkers the New Year's party gets. Because like at this point, Joe Gillis has just completely succumbed to this idea that he's just hanging out. He's getting money. He's going to get nice clothes. He's just there to chill and, like, rework this screenplay. But then, like, the house is completely strange. There's pictures of Norma Desmond everywhere. He's supposed to be attending this New Year's party. And, like we said, there's a full-on, like, string quartet or whatever that's playing to an empty room. And Joe Gillis is like, is anybody showing up? And she's like, no, it's just us. And it's just, like, at that point, it's like, this is just, like, a completely batshit scenario this guy's found himself in. So
for me, like you said, it's kind of hard to pick one. The chimp hand was definitely because like even though this movie started off with a murder, I guess I just wasn't
that into it
expecting that. Sure. Because I thought I wasn't expecting the weirdness. And the chimp hand
is weird.
And it introduces you to it, and then the way that the chimp looks, and because they probably just made it that chimp, and then just all these like little moments of how surreal the movie gets, like when you get that really wide shot of the guy from the funeral home bringing in this tiny white coffin,
right,
or even later on when you mentioned it before, when Norma goes to see D.W. Griffith and that grip just shines that giant like
light
in her eye, practically blinding everyone else on set.
And she's just soaking it up.
And it's like these little moments of surrealness that you get. And I love that they don't overstay their welcome.
No,
it gets a little weird, but it's still relatively grounded. And honestly, like William Holden, like everything I've ever seen him in, he's been really good. But Gloria Swanson just is so incredible in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely lives the character.
Yeah, like she was probably bringing a lot into this movie from her own experiences, and for a woman that didn't have a huge career after the advent of sound, she showed how good she is. So I love this movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it, man. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it again, and honestly, I'm really excited to also to have you on again to talk about Possession.
Oh yeah,
that's another one I've never seen.
Oh man, you're gonna love it. It's completely batshit. And then we can also talk about this other film that I just watched that was inspired by Possession, which is also kind of cool, but not as cool.
What's it called?
The Untamed. So
I've not
it was
heard of
from 2016, and it's definitely like a tip of the hat to Zulawski. So
yeah, I'm hoping, because I just have a feeling that I'm gonna like Possession, so I'm gonna try to. I know a new edition's supposed to be coming out, but I don't know if it'll be out in time for that episode.
Oh yeah,
so
the 4K one, right? I think.
Yeah, I'm hoping just to find a copy of it on disc, just because like I also know that with Possession, there's two different cuts of it. There's Zulawski's cut, and then there's a weird American cut that they did.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, and I just kind of want to see it, just to see what it's like.
Yeah, it's cool. It's pretty wild. Well, and we'll get into it, but yeah, there's some stuff that's kind of sad about it too. But from like a real life situation. But
well, perfect. Well, everyone listening has that to look forward to. Tell us, do you got anything coming up that you want people to know about? It'll probably be a little bit before this is out, but
yeah,
regardless.
Not really. I mean, yeah, just loved hanging out with you, and it was a lot of fun. So.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I loved hanging out with you too. I've been looking for an excuse to just hang out with you and talk about movies for a while, and this was it.
Yeah, no, it was great. A good one to start with too, for sure. So.
All right. Well, as always, guys, thank you very much for listening. You can find more if you're interested. You can check out our Patreon, where me and my beautiful and talented wife have a show called Cages the Rage, where we are working through every Nicolas Cage movie in chronological order. Next, we have The Boy in Blue, which we still need to watch and record. That's a very difficult movie to find.
Yeah, I can't say that I've seen that one either. So
it is a movie where he plays like a competitive what's that like rowboat like thing that they do sometimes in colleges.
Oh sure, I know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, he does that competitively, and it's like peak Nicolas Cage physique.
Nice.
And then we're getting closer and closer to Peggy Sue Got Married, which is one of my
that one's fun
favorites. Yeah. So we got that if you're interested, but then also check out the other great shows on the Cinepunx network. So that's CinePunx.com. There's things like Twitch of the Death Nerve, Cinema Smorgasbord, the Cinepunx TV show, Tomb of Ideas if you're into comic books, and also check out Rough Cut Fan Club for some great punk rock t-shirts. So thanks for listening, guys.
The Shameless Picture Show is recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin and Easton, Maryland, and is hosted and produced by Nick Richards and Michael Viers. Today's episode was edited by Michael Viers. Our opening theme music was written especially for us by The Directionals, with narration by Zach McClain. The end credit music you're enjoying at the moment was generously provided by my friends in the band 10 Speed. The Shameless graphic design is masterfully done by Amanda Viers. An extra special thank you to all of our Patreon supporters and to our generous sponsors. We are on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Google Play, and Libsyn. You can find links for all these amazing people in the description below.